We got more clips from mini camps and OTAs. Today we're going to be looking at the New Orleans Saints and getting another look at Spencer Rattler. It's been a while, but I pulled up as many clips as I could find. We're going to go over them right now, but what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button. We're going hard in the paint, looking at the rookies every single day this off season. From rookie camp to mini camp, training camp, OTAs, everything in between. Going over your favorite vets, covering the storylines. You need to click that button right now. Stop missing out on what your players are doing behind the scenes. We're looking at Spencer Rattler today. Minute and a half of clips. It's a mixed bag. Some older stuff from rookie camp, some newer stuff, some stuff I found. Here we go. From all the camps, what I could find. And the Saints have been quiet on clips. Here's him stepping back, working through some drills. I'll say that he's composed. He's very composed back there. Very chill. Very chill. He's always had that moxie from the high school days to the college days and now. He's always had that moxie. And I believe that allowed him to get to a certain degree. I think we need to just get more consistent. I pulled this up from the Saints, as you could see. This is from the shorts. We'll see if this one gets by. If you're seeing it, it got by. But there he is, slinging the rock around. Here's him stepping back. I think we're in rookie camp right now. He just looks chill. He looks like he's been there before. Don't know what went on there. Slow-mo. Stepping back. There's Rattler. With their drills. The feet looking fine. But it's so slow you can't really comment. Ball getting out there. And I think Spencer Rattler, when we talk about him for this team, of course Carr's the guy. Nobody's really there to push Carr. No one's really there to really compete with Carr for this year. But you got yourselves a developmental prospect, a high-end developmental prospect that you were able to get on day 3. Kind of later in day 3, but he really didn't fall because he was bad. He fell because you really don't need quarterbacks. A lot of teams didn't. And there was a lot of other positions available on the board. Wide receiver was deep. Offensive line was deep. Cornerback was deep. It was a very deep class of rookies. You're going to see that this year in the NFL. There's going to be a lot of rookies do some things. But to get a developmental quarterback at this price tag, that's what he was. A high-end developmental quarterback. A quarterback that you sit for a bit, you develop, and you see if you can get him to climb the depth chart, add some value to your team, have him be a high-end backup. But there's some upside here. We saw it in college. We saw it with 2 different collegiate programs, too. 2 different conferences. High-end recruit coming out of high school. He's always looked the part. We just have to string it together, be consistent. And this could be a quarterback that over time, say you got to move on from Carr, say you got an injury with Carr, say something happens, and we're a year or 2 years into his development, maybe we take that step forward. And all he has to do is take like a mini step forward. He's not too far off from some of the top quarterbacks in this year's draft. There's a lot of people that love Spencer Rattler. And Spencer Rattler's that quarterback that many people were pegging to get drafted in the 3rd round, and some people were like, had their eye open to him getting drafted in the 2nd. And you're looking at mock drafts, you're looking at the media, you're looking at talent evaluators, and he slipped. And a lot of people said he slipped because of the economics at the quarterback position with the other teams. Like, not as many teams in the league needs to take on a project at quarterback. A lot of teams are good. A lot of teams are working for starters right now. He's more of a project. So if you're good with Carr for 2024 and ongoing and you need your project to be high-end and a high-end project where you really got to take some time with, then he's the guy for you. And the Saints obviously said that with this pick. And plus at the price tag, why not? Plenty of upside here. You take a couple steps forward in your development, you're looking at a starter-level quarterback down the line. You're looking at a quarterback that if he can string together consistency, he can do it all. He can be accurate downfield. He can show you a fast mental he can do it all. There's just these moments that it goes haywire a little bit. We've seen that with both collegiate programs, especially at the end with Oklahoma. That last year at Oklahoma, he kind of fizzled out. That really hurt his stock. And then we get to South Carolina. He had some moments there. He had some moments there. It was quiet. The buzz went away. That Oklahoma blow-up, though, that was a thing. Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams going to USC. And then you got Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina. Spencer Rattler went down to the bottom depths and dug himself back up to get drafted. Because if you're looking at that moment with Oklahoma, you're saying, hey, this kid might not be able to get drafted. He may not be draftable. He dug himself up back from the bottom and built up his draft stock with only a few years to do it. And had to transition to a new team, had to do all that. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to get to this moment. By getting to this moment, by getting all of you guys to watch this video, be excited about him for being drafted to the Saints, getting drafted on day 3, he did a lot of work to get here. He really surpassed the odds to get here, to really get to that upside. Spencer Rattler is a guy with some dog in him, because you have to have some dog in you to get back to this point. And he's a quarterback prospect, was considered one of the better or top prospects in all of college football at one moment in time. And the wheels fell off, and he glued them back on. It rolled down the road still, and now we're here. And can we keep rolling? Can that happen? I'm not saying he's going to compete with Derek Carr, but maybe years down the line he'll be looking over his shoulder. Maybe years, maybe months. Maybe he exceeds expectations. Nobody thought Brock Purdy was going to be Brock Purdy. Well, people thought so maybe early in his collegiate days because he was a Devy prospect that was kind of touted back then in college fantasy football. But Spencer Rattler could be that. Could be that. And comparable to Brock Purdy, not comparable to Brock Purdy, early in his collegiate career, he was considered a top prospect or a high-end prospect for college fantasy football and fell off. Think about it that way. He was considered a high-end college fantasy football prospect holding value, but then fell off and then started to climb back up. That's something you may want to look at. Something you may want to think about. Spencer Rattler's got a lot of upside. There's no really downside here because he was so cheap in the draft for the Saints. Talking fantasy football redraft, a lot's got to happen for you to think about. Dynasty 2QB, you're taking shots on him. You're taking shots on him because if he even sniffs the field, return on investment in trade market, because if you're in an established league, it's hard to move quarterbacks. The value goes up. You're getting a return on investment if he can sniff grass on the field. And that's the bottom line because Bruce Matson said so. So you may want to be looking at him in Superflex. 1 QB. I mean, it's the 4th round. Do what you want to do. 1 QB leagues, you can pick up quarterbacks off waivers usually. Really depends on how your league is structured and if you got any wonky rules. Usually, I'm targeting high upside running backs there that can catch passes. Maybe that 1 or 2 wide receivers that fell in the draft that probably shouldn't. But Superflex, you better be on to him a little bit. You better have a quarterback here and there on your roster that if they catch any buzz whatsoever, if they can sniff grass on the field somewhere during the season that you can flip or even enjoy production if they hit. But those upside plays, you got to have a couple of those on your roster. And that's all fantasy football formats, but you got to know your format as well. Saints, what I'm saying here, especially when you look at the strategy here for Dynasty Fantasy Football, that's where you want to key in on that. If he sniffs the field, people are going to go hyper-focused on him, goo-goo gaga, because he was a top-tier prospect in college. He was a good college quarterback with some moments of good and bad, and he does have a hype train around him. That being said, he does have some upside. He does have some talent, or that wouldn't be there. That would not be there. And in the fantasy streets, people are taking a look at him and using him as a speculative asset. As a Saints fan, I should be looking at him as a speculative asset on my depth chart because he could pop later down the line, but could not. We see this all the time with players, but a very fascinating rookie to watch during training camp. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.